Hi, my name is Arun Agarwal from Spaulding Ridge. Today I'm going to walk through strategic workforce planning demonstration for airline industry using the Anaplan platforms. As a workforce planner, I need to plan the sufficient crew to maintain the level of operations for my company for each base by month. For this, I have logged in into the Anaplan and open this page from the app from here. Now, why as a workforce planner in the airline industry, I'm using the Anaplan? I have top three reasons in my mind, which I can share apart from Anaplan as a multi-dimensional cloud-based platform. First, it utilizes strategic drivers and constraint-based logic to drive the pilot and flight attendant needs to maintain the level of operation for my company. It enables a controlled environment that allows for quick updating and reviewing the plan assumptions or constraints and resulting in striving outputs with the minimum user input, efforts. Third, it provides a scenario-based planning to optimize the decisions and making the base on plan and potentials schedules across the each of the bases for both pilot and flight attendant. As on this plane planning page, I have the calculated required pilots and available pilots. This data is coming from the by different integrations method which Anapan provides like CloudWorks and API. And in the backend, I have this calculation is being going on, and accordingly, I'm getting the staffing variance. Now, what I have to calculate whether I have, well, now what I really needs to know is that whether I have a required pilot for each of the bases to maintain the level of operations. So I will start my planning with the Denver base for the month of April. So I need to know because the recent data as per the planning version, because as you can see on the top, I have a four different selectors, version, base, seat, and the time. The version is being used for different iterations of the data. Every month, I have a different iteration of data that has been come up in the Anaplan from the different CloudWorks and different integration methods, basically from CloudWorks, and then I will get a revised data. And according to the final planning has been set, and for this time, I need to plan for the month of April. So I will start with the Denver base with the captain for the month of April because I need to plan for the month of April that my level of operation has been maintained. Now I can see there is a gap of 10 staffing variance in the month of April. So you can see that I have select on this chart, on the line chart on 10. So everything on this KPI card has changed, the required pilots, available pilots, and staffing variance, and on the pay selector as well. Now these are the different drivers. Accordingly, I can change. I have a capable flexibility to fill this gap. The bid divisor and reserve percentage has been used for the required pilots and pilot training out transfer basis, and no bids means no flying hours are being used as drivers for available pilots. Okay, the bid divisor, which you can see is the number average line of flying hour that a particular seat, a particular captain needs to fly in that particular month by base. There is a percentage is that we have some backup plans, backup crew as a captain and the flying officers. Training in that how many people have been putting into training or how many pilots captains are becoming out of the training. And even we have the base transfers from one base to the another base. Then we have a no bid, that means they are not on the flying schedules hours. We have these number of people. Now coming to the April, I have 231 required pilots, but my availability is 221. I need 10 more. So what I can do is in the month of April, whether I can reduce the required one or I can increase the availability. To increase the availability, I will make that the variance according to the my future plans as well. At how many pilots which I have in the future months available, right? For example, in my October I have 14 pilots, but in the month of April I have only 10. So I can make some base transfer or put some of the pilot bases which is coming in the training plan from allocations of the training plan of the October pilots into the month of April as well. So I will do some addition of the 10 pilots on a different basis let's say from Miami or any other base to the uh, Denver base to fill this gap. Now my variance is left is 2, and I can also reduce my some increase the number of flying hours. Yeah. So if I increase the required number of flying hours for a captain in the particular month, so my variance has increased, but I have a flexibility to make it one more down. Okay, so now my entire staffing variance for the month of April is done. You can see that. So my availability for the pilot is done to maintain a level of operation for the space for the flying. Now, if I roll up entirely for the by captain for the entire uh, all the location of US, so I have sufficient as of now for this iteration of data for the pilot version. I have sufficient staff for a captain for this base and still have a positive variance. The requirement 957. Now I will do the similarly Denver base for first officer as well for the month of April. Now in the month of April, I have a difference of 8. So again, I will increase seeing the which I have to do for base. So I will do some base transfers or reduce the instructors like or flying hours of the people, reduce the leaves. So first of all, I will make only one leave with no instructors. We can have the instructors and rest of the people in the future months where we have more people. So now let's see the readiness has reduced by 5. Now I have the option to have the 5 more people to come up. So it has become a minus, which is means it is actually the same. So I don't have anything means it is absolutely the fit plan. Whatever is required, what is been available, I have done the changes. I'm not touching upon the bit device and reserve pile because that is actually which I can see is almost the same for across the month. So I have just make it as some of the transfer of the first officers and also for as we are as I'm in my company, I hire always the first officer, not the captain. And first officer has been upgraded as a captain, so that's the reason the training out means which I will say the people who will be coming to each month for the training is 30 as a batch of 30 every time. Now, if I roll up to the entire US market for my entire all the bases of the US, whether for this iteration of pilot, whether I have a sufficient people or not. So I have the sufficient first officers for all the bases for this iteration of data. So now my planning is done. I don't see any particular negative numbers, negative variance anywhere. So entire pilot staffing is done. Now we'll move to the flight attendant. Similarly for the flight attendant, I will do the for the month of April because right now I'm focusing on the month of April. Again, I have a variance of 5. So what I will do is I will this time I can see some of the changes in terms of flying hours average for flight attendants. In April it is down, but March it is 87, May it is 85. So let me just make it to around 84. See, it has increased. So but yes, considering the holidays and the other business plan, I can have some way, some liberty and making some of the flight attendants to go for some trainings and making some of the flight attendants as a promotions or to as per their level of experiences. I can have a liberty to go give them some of the training patches as well. Okay, so I make it as 82. Rest of the other parameters I have not touched upon, like leaves, company, other businesses, management, if somebody is going or any reserve requirements. Now, similarly, I will roll up to the all the locations. Now I see that there is no variance in the negative for this iteration of data from January from all the months. Now my work is done in this for this planning and for entire workforce planning in this page. So I'm good with this data, and we are good to have good to go with the flying to maintain with the level of operations. Now this final report will be shared with the finance team or the management. I can also go for over here as export as a PDF only for Denver, which I can do by going over here and select. It will take few minutes. Yeah, like this entire page is being downloaded, which I have done the changes, and I can share with my manager that this is the final staffing plan which I have shared for the Denver base, like version Denver base for April. Okay, this is the entire page I can share with the plan. Similarly, for the same thing, I can do it for pilot as well. And this has been downloaded in my downloads files, and I can directly send it to my by email box as well. Same for pilots as well. I can do the same thing to share the final plan for the Denver for first officer and as well as the captain. Once I share this plan and the final approval will come from them, from the finance team and the operations further operations team, then I think all the adjustment is being done. Thanks for and yeah, this is all about I have the work I do in this when I every time the data comes up, I just with the entire see my any variance and to do the adjustment with the different drive with the different levers and drivers to adjust the required pallets and available pallets. See the variances there, then share the final plan in this PDF format to the to my managers, to my finance team. Thanks for watching this demo. If you have any further questions or anything, just let me know. We can connect again. Thank you.